So joining us now, James Taylor, a professor of politics at the University of San Francisco, and also our political analyst, Brian Sobel. James, let me start with you. Sure. What stood out to you tonight?
In terms of the speakers, I would say the children of Donald Trump. I think Chris Christie did an excellent job in terms of trying to prosecute Hillary Clinton. I think that's going to backfire in the long run. But I think as a former prosecutor, he knew what to do in terms of trying to make a case against Hillary Clinton. The surprise for me was Mitch McConnell. Of course, he's kept his hands off up to this point, and now both he and Paul Ryan are getting behind Donald Trump, and so they're hitching the future of the Republican Party under their leadership with Donald Trump, and I think this is going to be interesting going forward.
All right, Brian, let's go over to you. They had a rough first day given the controversy over Melania Trump's speech.
Yes.
Did they recover today, and what's the headline?
I think so. First of all, Trump goes on and gets the nomination. They go through the roll call. That was very interesting to watch, as it is every convention. Then the kids came up and spoke, and I thought they did an excellent job. And the news cycle is the news cycle. I think Melania will lead the news cycle, and the rest of the story will be tomorrow night with Governor Mike Pence, and then Trump on Thursday night.
Did you hear some real personal sides to the kids' stories, or did you hear more on the issues, the policies?
Donald Trump Jr. had kind of a mix. He talked a lot about his father as a person, but also as a business person, his generosity, many aspects of his personality. I thought he really, for him, captured his father the way he wanted to.
Professor, you were talking about Chris Christie and how you thought that he was effective tonight. One of the things that struck me was as he was talking, the crowd was chanting, "Lock her up."
Yeah.
Talking about Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The people that are supporting Donald Trump claim that this is about economic anxiety. I don't know how locking Hillary Clinton up is going to pay their bills. I don't know how they get a sort of cathartic, vicarious sense of vindication in some way.
Well, it also just almost felt undignified.
Yeah, and there's something, and Brian and I were talking about this in agreement, that just a negative tone. We'll see it next week too with the Democrats, but just the negativity at a time when the country needs, I think, to be uplifted. People need to hear positive messages about our better angels, and I think that's one of the things that Paul Ryan tried to do, was to talk about party unity and consolidating the party against all its odds that ends up against some insurmountable odds, I think, but party unity was his important theme.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up with party unity. We saw today the roll call vote. Donald Trump didn't get more than 700 delegates, did not vote for him. Do you think that signifies an issue with party unity, or do you think they're moving more toward unifying everyone?
Well, I think the party will coalesce around Donald Trump. There's no other alternative at this point, and it's time to move forward and take on the Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton.
Let's look very quickly at tomorrow night. We have the vice presidential candidate, Mike Pence. We have Marco Rubio, and we have Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
Ted Cruz, to me, is going to be very interesting. What are you expecting to hear?
I think they're going to stand in line and step in line. I think the message is going out from Rance Priebus and the RNC. Step in line. If you can't step in line behind Donald Trump, stay out the way. This is a forward-moving ship, and the question is, can Hillary Clinton and the Democrats stop it?
And it's halfway over now, 2 days.
Yes.
Are they doing anything to sway voters over to their camp?
Well, I always say conventions are an interesting thing because they speak to the base. You hope you bring in some people. After the convention's over, you get a little bit of a bump for the candidate, the 3, 4, 5 points. It slips back, and it slips back because people move away from the enthusiasm and back to the reality.
Brian, one thing that's interesting, we talk a lot about national polls and how it's very close with the national polls, but what really matters are the states, the individual states, the Electoral College. The New York Times today came out and said that according to their state-by-state analysis, Hillary Clinton has a 76% chance of defeating Donald Trump.
Yes, that was a state-by-state analysis along with polling going back to about April, and they put that together in a model, and that's what they came up with. And I've been saying for the longest time, we talk about national numbers, but that isn't how we elect a president, state by state.
I agree at this point that Hillary Clinton looks good in terms of the Electoral College. People are actually relying on the Electoral College to stop this train that I just mentioned. And so we'll see what happens going forward. But I really do think that we can't take Donald Trump for granted. I think Donald Trump is sitting pretty in the catbird seat right now. Even with all of the negativity around him, he's still standing. He came out today the victor. He won today. We can talk about all of the negatives associated with Donald Trump, but he did something unprecedented in American history. He ran as a quote-unquote demagogue, and he won. the nomination. And so far, we can look at Pat Buchanan, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Sarah Palin, and many others. Going back to Barry Goldwater, the country's always said no.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, 2 more days to go.
Absolutely.
The GOP convention, then it's the Democrats.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.